Hi guys, today I'm looking at this MacBook Air 13-inch Retina 8th generation in beautiful, what I call rose gold, and I'm going to put it up against what I possibly would have bought in its place, which is a newer version of the MacBook Pro 13-inch Retina. Quite a big increase in pricing, so I have opted for this, and I'll be giving you the top 5 pros and cons to why you would go for this over the MacBook Pro. Okay, so as you can see, really nice colour, really small, light. This one, as you'll see from the intro, a lot thicker, a lot heavier. And I've read a few things around the keyboard. This has sort of got a flat keyboard to it, and this has got much more raised keys. I find I've seen quite a lot of comments that it's more difficult to use. Haven't found it at all. Really good. And out of the box, it simply comes with a really diddy little mains adapter, and it is a Thunderbolt 3 connection. Not sure where I got these from, but with all my other mains adapters, I've always got these longer cables. So this is obviously, this will go on here, but I always assume that, because I've got so many of them, I assume that they came with the machine. So that's a bit of a downfall that this one's only got the short cable, but I'm lucky I've got that one from the other machine. Okay, so I actually went up to our local PC World on a weekday evening just as an impulse buy. I thought I'll go and get one of these. Had a quick read online. Yeah, this was the one. And they didn't have one in the country, so I came straight back home, ordered it for a cheaper price on Amazon. I got it for $1049.99, I think it was. Slightly dearer now, I think, but you might be able to still get it for that price. The biggest pro for me was I didn't want to go up into the 1,700 upwards price bracket, which the MacBook Pro seemed to be in. This one came in at about $10.49 off Amazon, and actually cheaper than our local store, our local PC World. The second pro for me is its sleekness and its beautiful color. You know, it really is. It really sets it off this goldy rose gold color. And incidentally, really weirdly, they are actually different prices for different colors, which I found was a bit odd. Okay, the third pro to it is the lightness. You know, this is coming in, I understand, 1.25 kilograms. Tiny little pack. I've got my other one here if I can pull it up. So this one is you know, quite a chunky comparison. So obviously, if you're carrying this around, you know, coffee shops and just want to throw it in your handbag or your bag, obviously this sort of stuff is really good for traveling. And as opposed to this one where it's connected to the wire, this is just it is a cable in its own right, a Thunderbolt 3 cable that just plugs in there. Okay, for the fourth pro, I really like this new feature where you've just got on the top of the keyboard unit here, you've got a fingerprint recognition. So once you've set that up, really easy to set up, then you don't have to keep logging in being the bane of everyone's lives on every system and website, etc. So that's a really cool touch that you just use your fingerprint to log in. Pro number 5 is the battery life on this. It's up to 12 hours, so that gives you obviously a whole day to use the machine without finding a power source. With the MacBook Pro, yeah, I would struggle. I would struggle, you know, an afternoon, and I'm looking for a power source to power it up. Okay, the cons of this machine, which aren't so good as the older MacBooks, which I understand is across the board, irrespective of MacBook Pro or MacBook Air, is now they're starting to, in my cynical opinion, starting to bolt things down so you have to buy a new one sooner, is they are hard wiring, soldering in the memory and anything to do with the specification. So if you you set it, and this is a starter model at that $1049 price, so I've opted for the 8 gigabytes of RAM, and that's it for this machine now. The specification around the hard drive, again, this is two sizes, 128 gigabytes, which is pretty small, smallest one I've ever heard of, and can be upgraded for £125 to 256. Again, I didn't want to start upgrading this, so I started hitting the MacBook Pro sort of prices. So I've kept everything as a default starter, but again, it's a case that it's all spec it out first, and that you get what you get for that price, and that's it for this machine's life. Con number 3 for me is, although I've highlighted this is a lovely little lightweight unit, and it comes to bits with this Thunderbolt 3 cable, it is actually, I've not looked into how I can use my old MagSafe, so these sort of connectors. Now, the older one of these, so the older generation Macs, you could get a little converter, so they would still fit in this machine, and obviously the older machine. I assume now that I don't know, I assume you cannot get the converter from this to power this unit. So that's a bit of a drag. Because con number 4 is although these come in some lovely colours, you've got a space grey, a silver, which I assume is same as my old MacBook Pro, and this lovely rose gold. It's a bit weird for me that it comes in at different prices. The silver one is the cheapest at around about now. I checked, it was $10.49. This one I got for $10.48, I think, but now this one's on Amazon at $10.69, and then the space grey is really weirdly $10.99, so £1,099. Not quite sure what that's all about. Okay, and the last, I've bundled the last cons. The con 5 is again, I mentioned this cable, the fact that it only comes with a Thunderbolt 3, so we can't use other power sources, and then that brings me on to the actual connection of this device. I know we're in the world now of everything's online, but in this video, I'm taking my SD card out of the camera, and I've got a really handy little slot in my MacBook Pro. Just slot it in, can get the video off really easily. With this, there isn't any. All you've got is a headphone jack, and on this side you've got two Thunderbolt 3 connectors. So no SD card slot, no USB connection, so peripherals. If you've got other peripherals that you want to plug into this, well, I don't know how that works. You know, can you get a spare cable, or is it a case that none of them will work? Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. Overall, really happy with this machine. Just through it's sleek, it's light, it does everything we want to do. Keyboard, I find, like I say, is really good. Got this enormous, much bigger trackpad. It's quite strange that I'm holding these up. They're both 13-inch, but there's some form of less sort of body about it, and you can see I'm holding that with just my fingers, and it's yeah, you wouldn't be holding that for long. This one's just more like a small book. So I will put the link to this particular device in the links below, so you can check it out on Amazon. It was cheaper than my local PC World, and it came quicker than they could get one, and it was here the next day. So put the links in below. Got any comments or questions, if you'd like to know anything more about these machines, then give me a shout. Thanks.